I'm going to be sharing with you 5 signs that you are actually an empath. Because the thing with an empath is that this word gets thrown around a lot in society, and people don't fully understand what this word actually means. Because it is just a word to represent something deeper that's really going on that can't be fully articulated without the word. But we just use the word to articulate something that is an experience of your life, just like anything else that I explain, because we're just going through experiences, we're just going through life, and we use these words and labels to try to represent something. So I want you to keep in mind not to get attached to the label too much, because it is just a label, it's just a word, and I don't want you to create a sense of identity around this word, because who you actually are at a deeper level is not actually the word or label of empath. You are something much deeper than a word or a label. But with that being said, there are some things that will show you if you are an empath, and there are certain things that are showing you that you are connected to this thing that, some people call an empath. And I'm going to be sharing with you those signs. But before I get into that, I want you to hit that subscribe button and that notification bell, because I post a new video every single day. Also, if you wanted to work with me one-on-one and become a private client, then consider applying for a free consultation by hitting the website that's in the description box of this video. So before I share with you what the 5 signs are, I want you to understand what an empath actually is. So an empath is somebody that's extremely connected to the present moment. That's all it really is. They're so connected to the moment. They maybe have gone through a spiritual awakening of some kind, or maybe not. Maybe they're going through and they don't know it yet. Technically, we're all going through a spiritual awakening to some degree. The question is, are you aware of it? But that's another story for another time. It's like you're so conscious and you're so aware that you feel into your emotions very strongly. And you also feel into other people's emotions strongly because you have that awareness. So you're so present to the moment that you're highly intuitive and sensitive, and you're very conscious of emotions and other people's emotions, and you just feel you're very connected to reality. And so this can be like this, there's good and bad things to this, like there's pros and cons, but the fact of the matter is you're very conscious and you're very connected to your emotions, but not just your emotions, but everything that happens in your life, all your belief systems, all your thought patterns, all the limiting beliefs, all the negative emotions and the positive emotions and the highs and the lows. You're connected to all of it. And then you can also feel it within others too. And you're just so connected, and you see how all these things are connected, and it goes deep. So the fact of the matter is, you are a highly conscious being. That's what an empath is. You're a highly conscious being, potentially going through a spiritual awakening process where you're literally getting all this consciousness and light, and you're starting to actually see and feel into things that you weren't able to see and feel before, because you have that awareness. Okay, so it's extremely powerful. I want you to understand that before I give you those 5 signs. So maybe that already resonates with you, but with that being said, let's get into the signs. So the first sign is that you are highly sensitive to narcissistic and egotistical people. Okay, so maybe you have a family member that's extremely unconscious or narcissistic or egotistical, and you're just so sensitive to that energy work. Maybe they say something to you, and then you're just so sensitive. Maybe if they don't say something to you, you can just like feel their vibration almost. Like even without them saying anything, you could just look at somebody for 2 seconds and just get a very clear picture of like, yeah, that person is suffering, or like that person's going through a lot, or they're at a low vibration, not from a judgmental perspective, but the opposite. You have even compassion, which is another point I'll get to later, but you're so clear on people's emotions, and you're so clear on that narcissistic energy, and you're very sensitive to it. Okay, there's pros and cons to this, because this can be a gift. You can use that as a gift to the world and help people wake up to their darkness. But sometimes it means that you're extremely sensitive to people's emotions and their negative emotions as well, even the positive emotions, but more in particular in this case, the negative emotions, because you feel into those emotions, and this can be really draining on your body if you're not careful enough. And so you have to be careful, but there's pros and cons. We'll get to that later. But the point is, you're conscious and you're extremely connected to narcissists and egotistical people and unconscious people, and you don't know why. You feel pulled into their energy and you feel this compassion, and it's like, you know that it wouldn't make sense for you to engage with these people, but you still feel this need to like talk to them and help them and like all these things, and you really feel into that energy. So what I have to share with you to deal with this before I go further is that, this is not actually a negative thing. Okay, this is a positive thing. And so you can set some boundaries and, be more smart with how you give your energy to people. But this is actually a good thing, because what's happening is you're able to actually complete the patterns in yourself and others when you're that conscious. Because here's the thing, is that when other people are unconsciously lost in the darkness and the unconsciousness, and they don't know, they don't have that intuition. But the fact that you're aware of what is really going on means that you're already beginning to complete those patterns within yourself, which is ultimately going to complete the patterns within the other. So what you're experiencing may seem like a negative thing on the surface, but this sensitivity that you have will be a powerful thing for yourself and the greater whole of the planet, because you're literally releasing that darkness and you're bringing it to the light. Okay, so I know that you're sensitive, and I know that you may be feeling all this negative energy, and you're just very, very connected to all this negative energy. But the fact of the matter is, it's happening for you. It's not happening to you. It's happening for your spiritual growth as well as that person, because you're bringing their light, you're bringing light to their darkness as well when you understand what's going on, even if they don't realize it. Even if they get triggered, even if they get mad, you're actually bringing your light to their darkness, which is why they're getting so triggered around you. You're literally like a walking light beam, and the darkness can't take it sometimes, but you're healing, you're almost healing yourself and others by going through this process. And so I know you're sensitive, but it does come with a lot of gifts that may even lead to your life purpose later down the future. So that's the first sign you're an empath, is you're extremely sensitive to negative energy in others, and you just really, really feel it, even though it may be negative, but you feel and you can empathize and feel compassion and also resistance at the same time sometimes into all that negative energy. So the second thing is that you're very conscious of your own emotions. Okay, your own emotions, even the high and the low emotions, both of them. You're just so because you're so conscious of other people's emotions, the reason that you're conscious of other people's emotions is because you're actually conscious of your own emotions. That's really what's going on here. Because you've already been through the process of awakening to some degree, whether you realize it or not, you're actually so in tune with your emotions, and you've let go of so much past baggage that you're able to see it in others now. But it started off with you becoming conscious of your own emotions. That's really how it starts. You become conscious of your own emotions, your own negativity, your own positivity, your own values. Maybe you even become conscious of your belief systems and what you really want to do on this planet and all these things. But the fact of the matter is, once again, you're extremely conscious of your emotions. You're very conscious. You really feel into your emotions. And so it's not only that you feel other people's emotions and you see like, oh my God, that person's so negative, you almost can like have a sense, and it's almost like, and this can be negative to some degree, which you have to learn how to protect your energies to some degree, but you're gonna be like feeling that negative energy off the person, even in your own body sometimes. And there's ways to go around this. I'll make future videos on this in courses probably, but you can almost feel that negative energy off the person into you. So you feel your own emotions, you feel your own past stuff coming up, you feel your own insecurities. You're very conscious of these things. You're not oblivious to your darkness. And so even though there's, the darkness implies unconsciousness, you're very conscious of the fact of when that darkness comes up. And you're able to just see it fully. And you just see like, okay, I'm actually very conscious of this negativity right now. Okay, so if you like these points so far, make sure you hit that like button because it helps the channel grow. But what you have to realize is that this consciousness and this awareness of being very connected to your emotions, once again, may seem negative on the surface, but it's in fact a very powerful gift. It's a very powerful gift that you have that is going to help you to heal your own past wounds, and then eventually help others heal their past wounds as you go through this awakening process. So the third thing is you have a deep intuition of knowing who to trust. Okay, because you have this emotional intelligence built up, because you have this awareness of the emotions that you're actually going through, you have this deep intuition of knowing who to trust and who to talk to. It's gonna be really practical in your daily life. Like, you know which relationships to hold on to. You know which people to not, like, yeah, I shouldn't mess with that person because they seem like they would be very reactive and egotistical. And it's not coming from a place of judgment. In fact, it's coming from love, because you're just trying to make life a win-win, but you know that certain situations would be a lose-lose. You're so conscious that you actually see that it would be a lose-lose to engage with that person. So you're like, okay, you know what? I'm not gonna do this. I'm gonna take a step back and I have this intuition and to trust myself to not trust that person, right? And so that comes as a result of being a conscious individual and having those empathic abilities, if you wanna call them. Once again, don't get attached to the label. What is an empath? It's a highly conscious being, okay? Pretty much every single person can be an empath if they develop their consciousness. That's just a fact. That's a fact. If you train your consciousness enough, or you're naturally born as a conscious person, maybe had some spiritual gifts, you're definitely gonna have these empathic abilities because of the consciousness. The empathic abilities are a result of being conscious, right? So it's not like you have some special power. Every person can connect to being an empath if they have that consciousness, right? So it's about being aware that it is just a word, just like anything else in life. Okay, labels and words are just words. Don't get lost in the labels and create identities around the labels, because they are just labels. And so you're gonna have a deep intuition of knowing who to trust. That's just what it is. You're gonna be like, yeah, I shouldn't talk to that person. And like, if you see somebody on the bus, you're just gonna know, like, okay, I shouldn't engage with that person because it's probably gonna lead to some lose-lose situations. And so out of love, you know not to talk to that person. So the fourth thing, not the last thing, is you have a deep desire to help people, okay? And this can manifest in so many ways, but I'll explain those in a little bit. But it's because you have so much consciousness and awareness. You have so much awareness of what's really going on the planet right now. You're so conscious of your own emotions, other people's emotions. You have this intuition for who to trust. You have all this consciousness and this awareness, and you have this clear perception on what's really going on. And so what happens is you start to have this desire to help people through the process that you've already been going through, right? Because you start to see that letting go of these emotions is a part of the process of raising your consciousness and literally evolving the planet, right? You start to see that literally the evolution of consciousness, or the evolution of humanity in general, depends on your ability to help people. And that may sound like an egotistical, narcissistic statement, but it's in fact very true, because it's not egotistical, because literally every single individual has a power within them to help the collective consciousness and to help the planet. And so you start to see that and you say, oh my gosh, I have more power than I think. So you start to have this desire to help people because you actually see what you've been through and how you really need to help others go through the same process, because you're just letting go of the old patterns and the old baggage and all these things, and you're so conscious and so aware that you say, wait a second, I have to help people now. Okay, and this can manifest in so many ways. Maybe you become an artist. Maybe you could become a performer where you spread your light, you spread your consciousness to people in some way, whether you're a performer. Maybe you're a coach like me. Maybe you have this calling to, make YouTube videos daily like me. Like, whatever it is that you decide to do, you feel this urge to help people. Maybe you don't even know what you're going to do yet, but you feel like, oh my gosh, like, what's going on here? These people, why are all these people so negative? Don't they see what's really going on? You're thinking, how is that person so blind? Like, I just want to help them, but I don't know how to get started. It's like you're just going through an awakening process where that's where the future is headed. Okay, it's not actually in the future, it's all happening now. There's an awakening happening now in this present moment. But what you'll realize is that you want to help people through this process. You want to help people clear their negative emotions, clear the negative energy. And that comes from consciousness, from being an empath, so to speak. And you'll start to want to do this. So the last thing is that you're very good at letting go of what doesn't serve. You're very good at this. You're very good at allowing things that may appear on the outside to be like chaotic and things falling apart in your life, but you're good at just letting them go and not attaching too seriously to these negative emotions and these thoughts. And then the other people around you may be going through negativity, that trigger negativity within you. You're very good at seeing the bigger picture and be like, okay, these negative emotions have nothing to do with who I am. These negative emotions have nothing to do with who they are. These negative emotions have nothing to do with who I am at a deeper level. And so with that consciousness and awareness, you're able to just let it go. And this doesn't apply to just emotions and thoughts. This can apply to jobs and careers and the relationships that you have. You're very good at having this intuition to just let go of the things that are not serving you anymore, because you're so conscious of your emotions, you're so conscious of your thoughts, that there's no possible way you would be able to tolerate or handle holding on to these relationships or these things any longer. So what you do is you just let them go. Either you let them go, or the universe kind of does it for you, where you're able to let these things go in a much easier way. And so this is coming from the consciousness and awareness that you've actually developed, right? So it's not actually something that you're gifted with. Anybody can do this. But the truth is that as you become conscious, you will have to let go. You'll have to let go. And you start to realize, okay, part of life is letting go. And you see that it wouldn't serve you to not let go. So you start letting go of all these things because you know that it's going to contribute to your greatest potential and the greatest potential of humanity. That's what an empath does. An empath is very conscious of certain things, and they need to let go of these things because they know it's not serving them, whether it be a relationship or this or that. It knows it has to let it go. It just knows. It has this intuitive knowing because it's just very conscious. And so if you're starting to let go of relationships and jobs, like, oh my gosh, I have to let go of this negative emotion in my body, or maybe this relationship, like, oh my God, I have to let go of this job because there's so much resistance in my body. I have to drop out of school. Like, take me as an example. 5 months ago, or like maybe even less, I don't know how long it's been. Time speeds up really fast as you go through this process too, by the way. I had to drop out of school because it was clear to me that like me going to school and doing that was not in alignment for me. I was doing programming, right? And I was like, oh my gosh, this is not working anymore. And it was so clear to me that like, I can't do this. And there's relationships, narcissistic relationships and friendships that I had to let go of because I was so conscious and aware of the emotional distress it was causing me. And it wasn't coming from a place of running away. It was actually compassion and love and accepting the moment, which led to me realizing that the most loving thing to do would be to just let it go, right? Just let it go. That's the most loving thing I could have done, is let go of these things for myself and the person and whatever it is that I was doing at school that wasn't serving me. It was very loving for me to do that for myself. And as you become more, empathic, so to speak, and more conscious, which is what's really going on, is you're not going to have an issue letting go of these things that don't serve you, because you just have this feeling like, I have to let this go. So you're not going to have an issue. You're going to feel intuitively guided to let go of these things that aren't necessarily serving you any longer. So if you like this video, make sure you hit that like button so more people can see this video. Also, I wanted to announce that I have a free guided meditation that's specifically designed to help you connect deeper to the present moment and raise your state of consciousness. So if you want to try it out, it's completely free. Just hit the link that's in the description box of this video. I'll also leave it as a comment in this video, so it's totally free. You can try that out. That's all I have for you today. Have yourself a great day, and see you in the next video.